Eeveelutions! Eevee is my favourite Pokemon of all time, and has been since I've known about it. So naturally, I'm going to attempt to create an Eeveelution of every type. Welcome back to the Croneo region, my region based on Scotland and bits of Canada, but right now all I care about is Eevee. Now before I get into these 10 new Eeveelutions, I must confess I am doing something funky. Half of these will be regional variants of older Eeveelutions. The reason I'm doing this at all is because I thought it would be interesting. Anyways, let's get on with it. Let's look at Vaporeon. It's named after vapor, as in water vapor, which is gaseous, which is the flying type's whole thing. Along with Croneo and Cryogonal, Croneo and Vaporeon is pretty gaseous and cloud-like. The difference is that while Cryogonal became a cloud, Vaporeon has not. And it's also more opaque. Much like the original version, it can absorb itself into its surroundings, but instead of becoming water, it becomes air. One more design detail is that the bit of cloudy fluff on its forehead is meant to look like a feather, referencing the flying type's affinity for birds. A flying evolution should fully represent the type after all. Also, it uses the Feather Stone to evolve. Skipping over Jolteon, since I only have 5 and Jolteon isn't one of them, I decided to put the Flare into Flareon. And no, I don't mean flare as in fire, I mean style, as it's now a dancer! Specifically Scottish ballet, which can have flattering performances and stylish outfits. So it's fighting type for a similar reason to Hisui and Lilligant. To keep these variants having analogous evolution methods, Eevee requires an Aura Stone to evolve into Croneo and Flareon. It's interesting to note that it is on its hind legs for dancing. It is not bipedal, it is just dancing. It is also reminiscent of Scottish country dancing, which involves couples dancing with other couples, tapping their feet onto the ground to the tune of what is usually an 8-bar phrase of music. Of course, because it's Scotland, kilts are worn traditionally, so to reference that, Flareon's tail wraps around its waist like a skirt. Also, its chest fluff has reduced, mainly since the silhouette would be too cluttered if not, but there is at least some, and it resembles a bow tie. I think it's very dapper and very cute. Time for the 2 Johto Eeveelutions. Croneo and Espeon is my choice for the bug type. I felt like its psychic powers would be similar enough to how bugs communicate with pheromones, as well as the ears acting like moth wings, like I've seen with other bug-type evolution fan designs. This will be on the team of the Bug Gym Leader, exclusive to Pokemon Agate. I'm not ready to show him off, but I will say the theme of his team composition is really strong bug types. So what are the strongest bugs? Beetles! There are a few beetles in Scotland and Canada, and there are some species of beetle that are green, so I think this works out. This inspiration is the reason why Espeon now has a hard segmented body and mandibles on the ears. So Croneo and Umbreon is poison type, which may remind you of Umbreon's beta concept of also being poison type before they decided on it being dark. Remnants of that appear in Pokédex entries saying it sweats poison. So what if it secretes so much poison it becomes poison incarnate? The theme of the Poison Gym Leader is that she's caring and nurturing to all poison Pokemon, as she relates to them being outcasts like she feels she is. Umbreon isn't her ace, as I have something more fitting. I'll show her and the Bug Leader when I show their aces. Since it's poisonous to the touch, trainers have to take care, and many feel like it may be too dangerous to have around. They also still require a certain time of day to evolve, but instead of friendship they need to eat a new kind of berry, the Nisha berry, based on nightshades which are highly poisonous. My partner also wanted to do regional variants of Eeveelutions for his region. Since we both wanted to do a rock-type Sylveon, we're going to share Sylveon. For the sake of the Croneo region series, I'm going to call it Croneo and Sylveon, but canonically it's from the region my partner is working on. This rock-type Sylveon variant is imported from another region by the rich elite of Croneo, hence the golden elements on both it and the shiny design. Its personality reflects this, being pampered all the time. My partner wanted the white parts to represent marble, which is an idea I loved, but we weren't sure how to do it without making the marbling look too realistic, but then I thought of Kintsugi, which fit the design perfectly. I also wanted crystals to be part of the design, and my partner liked the way they looked on Mega Diancie, so we tried something similar. He also chose the ability, Cute Charm, while I decided the hidden ability, which would be Crystallize, much like Gastronite's hidden ability. It's pretty much the same as Sylveon's actual hidden ability, but instead of turning normal moves into fairy, it turns them into rock. Speaking of rock moves, I chose the evolution method while my partner had input on the specifics. I'm removing the affection/friendship part of the method, since that's difficult, but makes sense due to fairy being the best type in the game. I decided that it would be a specific rock type move Eevee would learn sometime in the level 20s, that being a new move called Diamond Dust. Wait, that's kind of weather. Diamond Powder! It's essentially a much less powerful Diamond Storm, Diance's signature move, and it could also be learned by more Pokemon which are Rock or Fairy type. Think of it as a Rock type version of Fairy Wind. If you've made it this far into the video, why not consider subscribing to see more videos like this one? While you're at it, maybe give the video a like, and maybe comment what your favourite evolution in the video is. I also have a Discord server, as well as an Instagram account for the Croneo region. If you want to go the extra mile in supporting this channel, why not consider subscribing to my Patreon? Completely optional, but it will help out a lot. Now, on with the brand new Eeveelutions. Let's go for Normal. Normal is a very catch-all type, used for many concepts that don't fit the other 17. It's also popular in the Fakemon community to have a normal Eeveelution have a theme of embodying all types, sometimes with a rainbow theme. So I just leaned into that. Meet Prideon! Yes, I made an Eeveelution based on the LGBTQ+ spectrum. Scotland may not be the most progressive country in Europe, but it's up there as one of them, which I have represented with some characters in Croneo being not exactly cis-het normative. I wanted Prideon to be a walking pride parade, and part of that is covering it in the colours of the pride flag. Making them accent colours as well as having the main bulk of them be on the tail was the way to go for me, as having the main body not be plain would have been a bit visually messy. I even have its neck fluff be based on the triangle on the Progress Pride flag, which represents those who are also a part of the black and trans communities, who tend to be underrepresented in the community, and it is a flag commonly seen within Scotland. Also representing pride is music. Music is commonly played at pride parades and at pride concerts. Normal is also the de facto sound type after all. Also, Eevee's tail reminds me of a paintbrush, so with a colourful design, why not paint the whole town gay? Ghost time now! So Halloween was invented by the Celts, as was trick-or-treating specifically. Since I think Pokemon wouldn't make a ghost Eeveelution literally dead, why not go for this cute idea? So when a ghost charge is stored on the special rod, check out the video in the iCard to learn more, you get Gaision. A guise being an external form, appearance, or manner of presentation, typically concealing the true nature of something, which is why the alternative name for trick-or-treating, guising, gets its name. Guise as a word also feels weirdly ghosty. It uses the power of the spirit world in order to dress up. The orbs near its feet are just decoration, and the skull and skeleton pattern isn't always there. It just lights up whenever attacking, or feeling particularly emotive. The purple is literally the same colour as Gengar, the definitive ghost Pokemon, and the green gives off the vibe of ectoplasm, night vision footage, and UV paint. The pattern itself is meant to be a generic spooky thing. Dressing up as a skeleton is a common Halloween costume after all. It also softly gives the vibes of Day of the Dead from Mexico, which is probably the most famous cultural tradition to do with the dead along with Halloween. Again, it's not dead, just spiritual. That being said, its ears and tail do have wispy transparency a la Dragapult. Ground was probably the hardest to come up with, since it's hard to utilise ground in a unique way a lot of the time. Something which I haven't tackled yet is peat. Meet Petion. So, the peat block was introduced in Legends Arceus, and was only available in Hisui. Well, now it's available in Croneo as well, since Scotland and Canada have loads of peat, even more than Hokkaido. So the power of the peat block is now amplified. So not only can Ursaring evolve into Ursaluna in Croneo, but Eevee's ground type evolution has been unlocked. Peat can be hard, peat can be slimy, peat can be many different shades of brown, peat can grow a bit of grass, all of which are represented here. I guess Petion is quite literally a mud puppy, but with peat instead of mud. Industrion is what I came up with for steel. A lot of these elements do come from other steel type Eeveelutions from the Fakemon community, mainly segmented plating with bolts, as well as cogs for a collar. For a fairly inorganic type, making the metallic elements feel like it's a living creature while still trying to give off the vibe of industry is quite difficult, but I think we managed it. I find it so incredibly odd that the only Pokemon directly based on British industry in Galar was Roly-Poly. Many thought a steel-type Eeveelution would fit this, and that's what Industrion is. Not just referencing the Industrial Revolution, but also steel in industry as well. Since Croneo is based on Scotland, which has a lot of connection to this, I felt this fit the steel-type Eeveelution from Croneo. And to evolve Eevee into Industrion, it must use a new move called Cast Iron 20 times. It's a steel-type move, not exclusive to Eevee, that raises defense by 1 stage. But if the user received a move with super effective damage immediately prior, its defense will go up by 2 stages. And finally, we have Draconion. The final special type not to get an Eeveelution, and another one people are scratching their heads at as to why we don't have one yet. The basis of this one is the most simple. There is a city in Scotland called Dundee, and one of its most famous cultural landmarks is the dragon statue. The reason why there's a dragon statue in Dundee is that the city has an affinity for dragons. The statue isn't very old, but the affinity for dragons is. So Croneo is basically Dundee the Pokémon. It may seem quite generic, but some of its features are inspired by the statue, including spiky parts as well as the colour scheme. Green also works due to being the colour of many European dragons, and gold works due to the affinity dragons have for gold and treasure. I'm surprised trade evolutions haven't been done for the Eeveelutions yet, so Eevee becomes Draconion when traded holding the Draken Helmet item. So now Eevee has an evolution for every type. Which one is your favourite? Comment down below. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Check out all the links below to see all of the artists who worked on this, as well as all of my socials, including the Croneo region Instagram, Discord server, and my Patreon. And with that, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.